This is Maiyegun live. We have received the report that the Nigerian court has given a date different from the 19th of January 2022 that they already haphazardly put together when they locked Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers outside the courts the last time. His lawyers were angry and they said they were going to petition the NJC, which is the Nigerian Judicial Commission or Council, I don't know, to report that judge, Binta Inyako. And the result of that, not just that, few days after that barbaric display of judicial abuse, the leaders from Igbo land, a delegation led by a 92-year-old man, a former parliamentarian, a former aviation minister, Amechi, to go and tell Bukwari that, listen, whatever Nnamdi Kanu must have done or said to offend you, we want you to release him on our own honor. Bukwari also came out to say, you guys have put me in a very precarious situation, but I am going to consider what you came to ask of me. Few days later, the same court that locked out Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers outside in Abuja that day, right, called them back to say, well, we can give you an emergency hearing. Come and probably, present your bail application and maybe we can grant that. So tomorrow is very significant. And what happened in the last 2-3 weeks, when I told you that even if people will no agree with us, even those who have publicly condemned and asked for death upon you for asking for Biafra, if they stand up to say we are doing everything to get Nnamdi Kanu out, it doesn't really matter. Whatever they are promising themselves as conditions, it doesn't really matter. Let Nnamdi Kanu come out of their hands. He is more valuable, useful, right, when he's with us than with them. And that's why I said, whatever string they want to pull, don't always be so negative about it. Something happened, though. And whatever that happened has made them to change their mind. Whatever they are bringing up tomorrow, it doesn't really matter anymore. It should be released unconditionally. I decided to share that short clip with you. That most of the times when I come here and I tell you why somebody like me, right, shown so much interest in the injustice always expressed by Nnamdi Kanu, rather than the negativity that many others actually pay or focus on. And I said, from every of his word, if you really, really pay attention, he never calls for war. Nigeria will turn to Somalia or be worse than Somalia. They are called figure of speech. If you continue this way, if you let Boko Haram and APC take over government, if you let them have this, the Fulani terrorists will overrun you. The Fulani terrorists will take over everywhere. The government will defend them. You will be denied the right to defend yourselves. These were his postures. The reason why he said, and for Biafra, we will die fighting to protect ourselves from these invaders. And when he was saying all those things, you see everything happening now. They were not happening. But he never called for war. So when people said, we have to show them, I said, no, that is not IPOB. That's not the IPOB I actually know. That is not the IPOB led by Nnamdi Kanu that I know about, that I will publicly say they are not terrorists. That's why I shared that first video with you, and I'm going to share it with you again. They asked him, are you prepared for war? to the social media warriors, to the social media, what do you call it? Social media loudmouth. You can feel so energized and pumped up, but there are some things you don't support when you say you support IPOB. The narrative is being decided by the criminals out there, and if you play along because they suit your own kind of warped logic of mind, the person that is leading IPOB repeatedly said, "Are you prepared for war?" He said, "No. This is not about war." Let me be very clear to you. The truth that they are keeping away, that we would expose, is more kind of a potent than any weapons or bullets. All they have is the guns and the bullets and the mortars. But we've got the truth that will liberate the people enough to disarm those weapons. We are not planning to fight war with Nigeria. That's what he said. And in case if that sounds somehow to you, because that seems to be different to the kind of IPOB or the Biafran struggle that you know, where people will threaten people. If you, we are going to, we are ready to crush the Nigerian army. We are ready to crush this. We are ready to crush that. But yet, innocent people are on the line of the fire. Nnamdi Kanu never asked for war. Nigeria media and their allies, they are continuing to spread that narrative of trying to make you believe that every criminal activities going on in Eastern Nigeria today can be linked to IPOB. No. When they asked him, this is what he said. Sorry that I had to cut the video short there, okay? If you really want to see the full clip, just go on to Channel's television YouTube channel, okay? Search for interview with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, all right? So you're going to get that up. But his statement, how is that different from what I do say here on Maiyegun's Diary all the time? That the reason why we have all this kind of division is simply because of the imbalanced, unjust system that's marginalized virtually every part of the country. That if we all pay attention to the demands of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, right? Part of his demand is that let everybody come together. As for Biafrans, let everybody now say, this is what we want, if they want to be part of Nigeria or not. At this point, let's make that call where everybody can actually decide, is this the Nigeria you want? As Yoruba people, as Igbo people, as Fulani, as Hausa, as 500 tribes, name it. Right? That if they can come together to say, this is the Nigeria they want, fine. But they know it is impossible. They can't let that happen. Demands of the Biafrans is, give us referendum. Let us decide if we still want to be part of Nigeria or not. They tabled their own grievances, right? But rather than for Nigeria to listen to them, what happened? They unleashed war on them, despite those provocations, right? Throughout the time that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was in Nigeria, there was never a case of a clash between the police, the security agents in Nigeria, in Eastern Nigeria, with any IPOB organization across the Eastern Nigeria, despite all the provocation, which simply proved that they were never violent. And that's one thing that actually riled them, that made them to declare war on the Biafrans, IPOB members, in September 2017, where they made many of them, drench in mud water. They made them drink mud water. They killed 28 of them. They killed the family dog of Nnamdi Kanu, and luckily, Nnamdi Kanu escaped their murder squad. That was the beginning.
the Biafrans never retaliated. There was never a protest. There was never a disruption or anything recorded. People were worried. Where is Nnamdi Kanu? Where could he be? Did they kill him? Did they take his body? What happened to him? Peaceful still. For 4 years, there was never any clash or anything anywhere. Until Nnamdi Kanu came back and said, everything I told you pre-2015, 2016, have you now witnessed and then confirmed them? Are the Fulani terrorists not invading your farms, even from the far away eastern and the western Nigeria? Are people not being kidnapped and freed on ransom? Is your government not out there pushing for Ruga, pushing for livestock, national livestock, in order to give lands to these invading aliens? Is your government and their agents not trying to make laws that will legalize and legitimize the establishment of the Fulani terrorists that are crossing the border into Nigeria, that have committed this much terrorism enough that your government and their agents are putting together laws, bills to provide them the sanctuary? So everything is said. He came back and he said, but despite the fact that many of you, especially many of you rich Igbos, many of you rich Biafrans who are living in denial of all this injustice and these killings simply because of what Nigeria gives to you. He came back and he said, despite your objection to freedom, we will still protect ourselves. He never declared war on Nigeria. So what happened afterward? Unknown gunmen got created. The violence that the media now report as the creation of a IPOB started. Immediately, this man said, we will defend ourselves, not to fight government, not to kill policemen, not to kill the soldiers, but to defend themselves against the invading terrorists. The same thing Igboho said that got him locked up in Benin Republic. They declared the second war on him. So now that they are holding him, that they have nothing, at least something to say, yes, let's prosecute him and then convict him. They resorted into diplomatic arrangements, which in my own opinion, right, doesn't really matter anymore. Doesn't matter anymore. He's committed no crime. We got pushed to this point. Politicians abandoned us. Traditional rulers abandoned us. International communities ignored us. But that didn't deny us, the courageous ones among us that could stand up, put together enough pressure that will force even the giant of Africa to misbehave internationally by committing extraordinary rendition. So all join. January 2022, right? It's no longer going to be the date that we are going to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu again. They have to bring him out tomorrow. Whatever the arrangement is, yeah? Let the judge come out tomorrow and then just strike out the case, because they have no case against him in the first place. And if you look at the pattern, the reason why many of you should be so concerned, the pattern is the same. You see, today, Omoyele Sowore was in court. And the DSS representative who came, and they were asking them, as they have been like dodging the court all this while. So today, that they finally came, you people said you are holding Sowore because he's planning terrorism. He has link to terrorism. He is planning to overthrow Boko Haram because, with hashtag revolution now. Now, it's been over a year. You have received a judgment that locked him up in Abuja indefinitely. But you are not presenting your evidence that justify the reason why we are locking him up here. Do you know what the DSS said? They said they are still investigating Sowore's mobile phone. They are also still investigating Sowore's bank accounts, because they have links to terrorists, to Boko Haram. It is the same pattern. They went to Oloye Sunday Igboho's house simply because Igboho said the Yoruba should stand up and defend ourselves against these invading aliens, right? The same ones that have wreaked havoc, enough havoc underreported in Yoruba land that has even led to our people becoming refugees in another country as we speak. They decided to go to Igboho's house without any court order, without nothing. No case, no nothing against him. They went to his house and they killed two people, two innocent people. Igboho narrowly escaped death from the killer squad of the government for standing up against the Fulanis. And that's exactly the warning of Nnamdi Kanu that also puts a target on his own back too. So it's the same pattern. And when they went to Igboho's house and killed two people, they took their bodies away. They are still keeping their bodies still today. They killed them since July. From the beginning of July. And to this day, they are still keeping the bodies of those they killed. And they went to the media with their media trial. Oh, Igboho is into gun running. Where did he see all the guns he is using? Where is he he must be into gun running. Therefore, that's a criminal offense. That is why they went to his house, because Igboho is a terrorist. The next day or two, the Attorney General, the #1 law officer of Nigeria, gave a press conference and he said they linked Igboho's account to Boko Haram sponsor. It is the same pattern. When they wanted to kidnap Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya, they supplied a fraudulent and fake intel to their Kenya counterparts. They said Nnamdi Kanu, if they see him, and it's the same message they sent to the rest of all their allies in Africa. If you see Nnamdi Kanu in your country, if you see me here or there, right, he is there because of El Shabaab. He is there to meet the terrorists. He is their financier. If you see him, please help us arrest him. Oh. We are looking for him in Nigeria. He is the one that is causing the unknown gunmen in eastern Nigeria. It is the same pattern. When the NSAS protest broke out, when they decided to pinpoint those they saw as key figure of NSAS protest, what did they accuse them of? Accuse them of? Insurrection. Insurrection is pretty much like an effort to overthrow government, terrorism, treason. So they quickly raised the memo and they accused them of treason, trying to overthrow government. Meanwhile, the youth were asking for the government to stop police brutality. But what did they accuse them? What did they accuse them of? Insurrection. It is the same pattern. They blocked their bank accounts. When they said, why would you block all their bank accounts? They said they are investigating them because they have links to international terrorists who were sending money to them to break Nigeria. It is the same pattern. So now Nnamdi Kanu is in their courts. Bring all the evidence. Like Omoyele Sowore, bring all the evidence. They said they are still checking Sowore's phone. They are still investigating Sowore's bank account so that they can know how many terrorists Sowore is getting money from. This is it. And all the people are asking for is a fair system that actually care for them, care for humanity, and then show some empathy. Make them feel like citizens in their own country. This is what all these asks are all about. But they criminalized it. And they ensure that their media continue to propagate such falsehood to justify it. They increased insecurity in that part of the country. Innocent people are being kidnapped. They have been summarily arrested and locked up indefinitely. Most of them hidden, even from courts. And that is why many IPO, those they accused of being members of IPOB, many of them who finally made it to court, after first or second hearing, they discharged them because there is always no evidence. It is because of some paranoid criminals in power who are so scared of their own shadow and the crimes they've committed, even in secret and in public, that they continue to dig further grave for their own ruin. So if they finally want to put a break on it, it doesn't matter. May them release Nnamdi Kanu tomorrow. The same people, and they've told me, similar thing is going on Oloye Sunday Igboho's issue. And I want to strongly believe that indeed, if legal means is the way out, Boko Haram and Nigeria will lose out. I just painted a picture of what it is that prompted all of these ulabalus, all of this anger, rage here and there, the imbalance, the injustice, the cover-up of what Nigerian system has become. The world doesn't care. Nobody cares. But for the fact that many of us actually cares is enough to mount the pressure on enough to make them do what we want. They are so scared to admit, most of them in southern Nigeria, but their own fear will not continue to be our own stumbling block. Their reality, they will meet it. If they have a case against anyone who have spoken up against the injustice in Nigeria in their own way and style, they should let them have their day in court. Look at what happened in the UK with Adeyinka Grandiot. Adeyinka Grandiot, who enjoyed inciting hateful bigotry, got cautioned by the authorities in the UK. That did not dissuade him long enough until he was given his day in court, which means even if they say, what you do is wrong, what you are doing is wrong, you said, no, I'm right, the system will allow you to come and defend yourself. So Adeyinka Grandiot had his day in court from the 15th of November to the 30th of November when he got his guilty verdict. Now, that system allowed him to defend himself. Now, if that system says he goes to jail for anything, the system will still allow him to appeal. That, no, I disagree with this judgment. In Nigeria, what they do is that now if the government says you are guilty, that means you are guilty. The government is the accuser, okay? The government is the prosecutor. The government is also the judge. And the government is also, the person that will carry out the judgment, that will jail you. In their own case, they are 4 in 1. So such system that is so rigged and so dirty and unclean is what brought us here. They took Nnamdi Kanu, kidnapped him since May 2021. That's like 7 months ago. And for that 7 months, all of the evidence they have told all their Buhari mumus, and then all this, Lagos Abobaku Buhari idiot and cyberbarians, everything they've told them for the past 7 months. Yes, they finally got him, because they know they don't have any system, any legal system that can stand any test of time, or not because they can't have it, but because Buhari and his gang, they have rubbished every institution in that country that actually none exist anymore. So you have somebody, you have your evidence, you've done your investigation, you have your witnesses, then bring them to court. Nothing to bring to court. You lock the lawyers outside. They are also the executioner. God bless you. The executioner of their own case. They are the accuser, they are the prosecutor, they are the judge, and they are also the executioner. Not be so? 4-1. What kind of system is that? Yeah? So since they can't, they resort to diplomatic arrangement, political arrangement, because according to Boko Haram and gang, everything that Nnamdi Kanu, everything that Oloye Sunday Igboho, everything that every Nigerian that is upright enough to speak up is demanding and asking for, the different things that makes life meaningful, everything they are asking for is legit. And you are asking for them because they took them away from you. So, If they hold you against, if they hold you for anything, they have nothing on you. Would they say you should, would they say when you beat a child, they beat a child, you're beating a child, right? And you are still at the same time telling the child not to cry. How does that make any sense? Innocent people hunted down. So release him. If you have nothing against him. Adeyinka Grandiot case in the UK lasted for 2 weeks. Because the UK government, they have, the Scotland Yard, they have their own evidence and what have you to prosecute whatever they have against him. So if you, as a Buhari idiot, as a cyber barbarian, look at me very well. If you get sense, in your own opinion, if you get sense, 7 months no reach for Buhari and gang to present their evidence against Nnamdi Kanu. 7 months is not enough. I don't expect you to possibly use your sense. You know what they say? They say our brain, a very unique organ, very, very powerful, important organ. Brain. From the day they born you, your brain will start working every day. When you start crawling, when you learn how to talk, when you learn how to run, when you go to school, when you do things, your brain must be very active, And they say normally your brain should work till you die. But people said, Baba, have you seen people who are members of APC? They have brains that started working from day one until the day they joined APC. They don't think. I said, no, it's not just APC. Nigerians, majority of them don't think. That is why you will see them, they choose their poisons or they choose their own slave masters differently. When you look at the Buhari idiots and you look at the articulators morons, when you look at the cyber barbarians and you look at the articulated mugus, they are the same. And they are Nigerians. And that is why people agree that if you look very well and you don't want to be biased, if you don't want to use any prejudice or what have you, you will realize that majority of all these Nigerians, don't be say they actually hate corruption. Not that they actually hate oppression. Okay? Not that they generally hate all these vices. What majority of them don't really like is that they are not the one doing the oppression. Listen to me. When I address the Buhari idiots, right, it's because they are those who are reigning now, showing to you that you don't really need your sense if you have the likes of Layamo, who can think for you. If you have the likes of Pastor Ruga, Ikene Shatabandu, Agboworin, Baba Oja, you don't have to think or reason. If you have the likes of a demented Buhari Pro Max, Tifnumbu, as the economics, idealist, you don't have to use your brains. They are those reigning now that defend what kills them because it hasn't happened to them yet, but it happened to somebody else for some reason. So that is why I mentioned the Buhari idiots more. But they are not different from the articulated morons, the articulated mugus, because everybody loves their own thieves differently.